did you say you use the second red fan for the high notes? After the straw and peanut exercise, can you kind of give us an order for that?
Okay, so the straw and the peanuts, okay, and then going to the Pneumopro, and the air needs to be slightly higher for that high register, but only if you're using the same dynamic level. If you're telling them to blow harder, then the air needs to be down. This is without blowing harder. This is only changing air direction and the lip opening. So here we have. So it's po, p, po, p. And
which fans do which octaves? That's the question as well.
Fans, okay, so this is a little bit of a misnomer. I'm almost always playing on this green one most of the time. As you get, whenever you're changing octaves without changing dynamics or getting softer, then the air goes up. So if I do, and it depends if you're talking to a beginner or advanced. So with my advanced students, if I'm doing a pianissimo high F, so there's, but if I'm playing forte, the air is very fast, and it's gonna be too high because the airspeed is so fast. So now we need to get that air column all the way down. So the planning and playing tune book goes into detail about how to do this and the difference tones, and using the Pneumopro with that. That goes into a lot of details, but so that's straight down because I'm playing a fortissimo. So what you get if you have a student who's still blowing straight across for that high, for that F, and you're saying you're playing a forte and you're raising your air column like that, it's going to be super sharp, right? So when we're talking just beginners, I'm talking about these first two, right? Just the first two, and just to change octaves. But as we get advanced, it's more dynamics that make all the difference. And then instead of using my lips now, I change air direction by changing the inside of my mouth. So the oral cavity and the vowel sound I'm doing, or the so there I'm spraying the air column because I'm doing the polyphonic thing. So I'm just, I'm not doing it. Do you hear I'm singing two notes at one time? So I can't do it like the singers online, but I do the same thing when I'm playing the flute. And so whenever you have that openness, we've jumped out of beginner. So I change a lot of air direction by just my vowel and my oral cavity now, completely different.
Okay, so question on that, they're starting to really start bumping through. They've had jaw surgery, and so they really have a problem getting that lower green fan. Do you have any suggestions on just how to really focus on getting that green fan?
So it's really interesting. When I was sitting with Samuel Barron, he told me, and this is one thing that got me thinking. I said, how can I get my low notes to sound better? And he gave me an exercise that gradually went down. He goes, keep working on this every day. But it made me think about the Pneumopro. He said, somehow you need to get that air column down. So if you're aiming your air at the center of your lips it's almost impossible to get that air down. So basically we need an angle for it to bounce off on, and like Kincaid. So it needs to go up high, this upper lip so important, and you need to relax as much as possible. Really. So I have, you know, and I can relate. I've got all kinds of jaw problems. I have a crooked jaw, and have refused to have surgery. But warming up carefully and slowly, using lots of hot air is going to help too.
Okay, let me, I just want to sneak back to the beginning of a couple questions at the beginning, and I promise to do my best to touch on all of them. Do you start teaching tonguing right away?
No, because so if you're familiar with the newer pro, and you're doing double tonguing, you're teaching a student to do double tonguing, you can see them, they're sustaining a tone, and the air goes up, okay? And that's the same thing that happens when you're tonguing, the air goes up. So whenever they can hold a note for about three beats, we teach them slur tongue. Do, 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 I love the tongue. Do, 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 do. And we use Baby Shark, this fantastic arrangement the kids love, and then do they love Baby Shark with the tonguing. Baby shark doo doo, I love my flute. Baby shark doo doo, I love my flute. And then great white shark, go no, don't take my flute. Great white shark, go no, don't take my flute. So they learn that song and have fun with it. And then do 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 do. So my kids are late at tonguing, not terribly late, but we want that really good, fantastic tone. Then we're back on the head joint to actually learn. And we have specific pieces designed just for the beginning incorporating tonguing. One of them is Sneaky Cat. So very easy finger changes. So our kids are very, so I would say they're late in starting tonguing, and this is different than Suzuki. I'm Suzuki trained, but I do things a lot differently. So yes, I find it works much better to wait and then incorporate the tonguing, but we do start double tonguing a lot earlier than, it's like as soon as they've got tonguing, we start double tonguing because it's easy.
Perfect. Okay, what about using the Flute Tutor? I have somebody who has used the Flute Tutor, and the minute the kid takes it off, they automatically go back into the rolling back habits. How do you keep them from not, once you wean off the Flute Tutor, how do you keep them from rolling?
They weaned too early because they still need it. So sometimes I just have to pick up they're doing it wrong, and I just have to pick up the Flute Tutor and they correct it. It's like, all I have to do is like, I just wave it around and there it is. But obviously if I'm having to do that, they need to have that Flute Tutor again. So if they're going back to the same habit, they're not ready for it.
Okay. Getting through your flute student and teacher, your student and teacher book one, how long does it usually take to get through the entire book one?
That's a good question. So if they're 4, 5, 6-year-olds, it takes 2 years. We take the time, but in the meantime, they've memorized all 12 5-note patterns and they transpose them in many keys. I had a very talented, now she's a professional Irish flute player, that I think record time was 3 months. That was a 7th grader through book one. So I think it varies. It's basically book one. If you're doing like a 5th grader, is going to be a year. I have a 3rd grader who's very talented, and she's started in the middle of January, and she's just about finished, but that's not normal.
Perfect. Okay, so Holly Clark wrote a question. I'm just gonna read the question straight out. I tried teaching F, C, and D orally to my student via FaceTime so that I could teach him, sorry, my computer just completely bleeped out. But he wouldn't be able to grasp the notes until it's officially introduced in the book. I tried teaching him the smiley down, smiley up exercise, but he was having a hard time fingering D that way. Should I still wait until the notes are officially introduced in the Blocki method book to teach him new notes, or should I still try to teach him notes by showing him?
So you always start and the teacher, good job following that. No, you want to still do, it's only going to be worse if you wait till they're finding it in the book where they have to read it and do the rhythms too. So definitely, and what she's talking about is the teacher's manual where we have them put little smileys on these two fingers. So this is our D, and then we finger change C and D, and they wave to each other. So there's sometimes we say the boys and the girls, and they're coming out and hiding. Or some kids said, well, these are owls, and they're nocturnal, and these are, so, and we're not, all they're doing is doing the finger change. I tell them if they're watching TV, they should be doing this finger change. And if he's, at first it's really slow, right? And Holly, did you start with add a finger? Yeah, and Flute Zoo, we even we even break it down even more. But, so yes, so then I would go back to not playing, just the D, C. Even, almost all the kids take a long time to do that finger change. I often, there's a reward if they do 100 a day. And then I do have them do, once they're pretty good at them, I have them do like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, da-da-da. So they just have to go through the song.
I'm just going to stick with Holly's questions for just another second. Thank you for that answer. I tried weaning off my student from labeling the notes on his music. His had lessons for about 6 months and worked for a little bit until his student's father tells him he had some eye issues, and then the kid freaked out. I'm reducing it a little bit. When he plays a song, he is supposed to practice the week before. So should I just let the student still label the notes, or are there tips for students similar to that syndrome?
I don't know what syndrome that is, but I've noticed that my kids, because in a group classes, we do lots of games, running games, which helps their brain absorb, relay races and a whole bunch of different types of games for learning notes, note reading. And I find that the kids that haven't done that, or have been the COVID kids, I call them, are struggling a little bit more. You might, there's a few apps. There's Staff Wars, and I could share it with you guys if you want to see. Staff Wars is a Star Wars type thing where you're shooting the notes, and it's a lot of fun. And then there's the Derby, what's it called, Derby Duck? And that one, you can assign what notes that they're using. With the Staff Wars, the problem is that it gives you lots of different notes. But with the staff one, you can tell which ones. And also boom cards. And you can share and do the boom cards online with them. I do the boom card rhythms, but there are also note ones, which are fun.
Where would we find those?
So teachers, let me go. Teachers pay teachers, and I'm just going to go to my boom so you guys can see what this is like. Boom. I don't know why it's not coming up. Here it is. Learning library. And so and I didn't do this before COVID. Okay, so these are rhythm right here. I'm going to go to, so, and I can give them control. They can hit this. So boom, whoops, boom, 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 and they can check it. So there's boom cards, also for learning notes, but they'll have more fun with that, like duck derby one. And you know what? You can also pull up the whiteboard, right? If you're on Zoom. Do you know how to do that? So I just go to share screen. I'm going to hit a whiteboard and have them draw a screen, go 1, or a staff 2, 3, 4, 5, and then switch it to like the note things. Whoops, it's not there. So, okay, draw an A, or they can tell me what it is, or draw a B, or draw a C. So, the whiteboard's fun too to interact on.